My name is Susie Techmeyer, and I am the Agriculture, Plant Sciences, and hold on a second, let me share my screen here. Uh, I am the Agricultural Economics, and Plant Sciences Librarian at Michigan State University Libraries. And today I am going to talk about farming business guidance and data resources for the working farmer. And I want to acknowledge that Michigan State University occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe, Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples. And the university resides on lands that was ceded in the 18 Treaty of Saginaw. And today, I just want to talk about resources that are, okay, let me say that. Agriculture touches everybody. If nobody has known it up until today in this conference, agriculture is everywhere. It's people own farms, people eat food, and these are just some statistics that have been pulled from the most recent census and the Economic Research Service. But yeah, you can't get away from agriculture. Nobody can. As long as you eat, as long as you live, agriculture is a part of your life. Okay. And I am, as I said, the agriculture librarian for Michigan State University Libraries. And my primary population is, of course, agricultural students, the researchers, and as part of my role as the agricultural librarian of Michigan State University Libraries, which is a Tier 1 research institute, we are the land grant. I also I am the primary liaison to the Cooperative Extension Service and the agricultural experiment stations. But I also get a lot of questions from the public. And as a result, I get a lot of questions on where can I find resources that are open access, publicly accessible. OA is open access. And so a couple of years ago, I've started compiling all of these resources that people keep asking me for, that because MSU is so invested in research, we have the luxury of purchasing a lot of the subscription databases that the public non-affiliated peoples don't have access to. But there is actually a lot of information out there that is publicly accessible. So my goal today is to identify resources that can help you find resources that you need to help you with your job. And so I am going to put a link in the chat. And this is the website that I have compiled that I'm going to base this talk on. This is open. Anybody can get into it. There are other tabs here that, oh, here's also me and my email address. If you ever need to get a hold of me, you can always email me. But there are lots of resources on here that are limited to the open to the public. Anytime you see this little globe, that's an open access resource. If you see the little IP in the green, that means it's a resource that you have to be affiliated with MSU to get into. But I am going to base this talk on the Farming Resources OA tab here. Also, I have included a PDF document off of the HUYA page that can be downloaded, which includes a lot of the descriptions of what I'm going to talk about today too. But I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have a lot to cover. And so I'm going to go here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a lot of these tabs or these links here that I have and describe what kind of information you can use that can be helpful to you. So the first one is SARE, and this is the Sustainable Agriculture and Research Education website. And what I love about it is that these are documents on here that cover all aspects of farming, land sustainability, publications. And so like we can put in, let's say just grape, if you want to grow grapes, uh, you can limit it to regions or categories if you so desire, but you can see that we got 12 results, marketing, putting it all together, farm features, organic farming systems, barley, making a difference. But these are all documents that can help you go grapes. Expand to the entire site. So tip sheets, management of diseases, and so forth. There's business information in here. There's organic production, farm to table, this kind of information. I think almost everything on here is uh, open access. It's not subscription. Okay. Okay. The next tab that I wanted to describe is ATTRA and their website of information, publicly accessible information. And it too has uh, tip sheets and guides that are open access, where you can get in and download PDFs of beneficial insects. They have business information. They also have publications, podcasts, videos, blogs on all of these different uh, topic areas. So for instance, local food systems, you go in here, and direct marketing, farm to institution, farmers markets, food policy and access, food hubs. And it will provide you with these documents down here that you can get into. One thing that I really like about ATTRA is they do have a lot of documents in Spanish. So if you live in an area that has a lot of migrant workers that may need documentation in Spanish, you can help them find information in Spanish to help them out. Okay. The next item is the Farmland Information Center. This is a nonprofit that also provides a lot of documentation for for people to hold on a second. Yeah, okay. It is with the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service, and you can go into documents or the information for section. So you can find information for landowners, how to find farmland, how to protect your land, how to plan for agriculture, policymakers, federal, state policy information. If you want to explore the Farm Bill, there's information in here also. Ag districts fact sheets, and programs that can help you find information at both, not so much as by at the state level as well as the federal level. But this is a site that is rich in information that you can use to identify assistance on how to protect your land and like transfer your farm or ranch, or if you want to get started, how to find farmland and so forth. Okay. The next tab I have is, and I just want to mention this one because this Ag Econ Search. One of my roles is the agricultural economics librarian at MSU. We call it AFRI, Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources Economics. But in the economics field, you write a lot of white papers, which are an analysis of an industry or an aspect of farms and economy at the local level, at the state level, at the federal, and especially the international level. And so the thing is, a pair of women, Julie Kelly and Linda Els at University of Minnesota, put Ag Econ Search together a number of years ago, compiling and providing open access to all of these papers, economics papers from across the nation to this database. So they are all publicly accessible. And you can go in and you can search. So if you are looking at an industry, you can get in and you can read these reports, you can search for them, and then get into them. You can sort them by date. There is a lot of international information in here. So if you work on an international level, you can explore that, and so forth. Okay, the next location is what we call Howdy Trust. Howdy Trust is a digital repository of materials that a number of years ago began with Google trying to scan anything and everything, and they partnered with libraries, mostly academic libraries, and the primary partner was the University of Michigan down in Ann Arbor, and they put together Howdy Trust, and it is a massive database where you can get in and you can search. A lot of it is predates, a lot of the open access predates copyright, which is what, 1924, I think right now, which is in the public domain, but there is a lot of information that is much more current. But one of the things is when they went in and they scanned all these documents, one of the first areas that they concentrated on was the original experiment station reports and cooperative extension documents from a lot of the land grants. And so all of the farmers bulletins, the technical bulletins, the research reports, a lot of those are in here. Excuse me, coffee. And so if we search on, let's say, grasses for the dairy, you can search Howdy Trust. We can look at the full text information. And you can see that we got over 312,000 full text results. You can go in and you can limit it to those by their subject filters, producers, who's the author. There's international languages in here. So if you are looking for materials outside of the US, there's some of that in here. And for instance, you can just, like the 1951 Dairy Handbook for Texas, you can get in and click the full view, and lo and behold, the document will come up and you can just read all online. Okay. A number of years ago, as I just said, a lot of stuff in here past 1924, more recently than 1924, is not publicly accessible because when everything was scanned, they weren't sure if everything was in the public domain. A couple of years ago, I worked with my university, our board of trustees, and went in and was able to get almost everything produced by MSU Department of our agriculture department, Cooperative Extension, Experiment Station, that was in Howdy Trust post 1924, open access. We opened up the access. So we can get in, and that's weird, the dates are, but economic reports, you can get into the catalog records, and you can see like 1965 on our reports and stuff are in the public domain. So you can get in here and you can just play and find information on all aspects of agriculture, production, farm buildings, plans for a dairy, how, and all of that stuff. All of this is, a lot of this is open access for you to enjoy. And then the next tab in this nonprofits section that I'm covering is the National Agricultural Law Center. This is based out of the University of Arkansas, and it is for when you have problems with legal issues. This is a place that you can consult to see what the laws are at the state and national level, to find out what is legal, what is not legal. And then there are ways that you can seek out assistance on agricultural issues. For instance, pesticide spread, land ownership, and so forth. You can go in and research by topic, state compilations. Agritourism is a topic here, statutes, case law, and then these are documents, the nature of agritourism. These are open access. So if you have an interest, so this is older, that came out in 2009, but this information is here to educate yourself, give yourself a leg up on what you have the right to do. And it's but yeah, it's so like farmers markets, rules, regulations, and opportunities. There's also by states in here. Oh, industrial hemp is here also. Yeah, and so forth. So a lot of this information is accessible to you also. Okay. So that was the nonprofits section. And so now I am going to go and look at some of the state-based resources, which are in, if you're following along on the guide, the state level resources I'm going to cover here. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to, yes. Okay, so that top link there was NAS, the National Agricultural Statistics Service. Okay, so if you are exploring your own state's agriculture production, acreage, land ownership, and you need to find out what is being grown, what is being harvested, how much of a market is there for a product or a commodity in your state. You can come here to the body that collects that kind of information is the National Agricultural Statistics Service, and they have state by state resources. So for instance, if I wanted to find, let's say Iowa, because I know a lot of you are in Iowa. Ta-da, come on. Oh, sorry, I went to Kentucky. Let's go back. And there we go. So you can get into Iowa and you can see that these are all the resources that the Iowa field office has compiled together about the agriculture of the state. And I want to point out a couple of the resources here. There's the annual statistical bulletin, and this document provides the annual recap of the national rankings of Iowa's or your own states. Could be Michigan, could be North Carolina, could be Nevada, wherever you are. The top crops, yields, chemical usage, county rankings of commodities. They are in online. They're online in PDF format. And the thing is, you can go in to the current year and see what kind of data is being compiled. You can go into previous years to see what was compiled back in the day, and then you can make comparison on trends, county reports here, and so forth. And these reports, like this is 111 pages. And like this one, the crop summaries, this one is actually pulling data from 2016 to 2020. So you can see that there are trend data here. And this can be very helpful when you are looking at your land or livestock production. You can see what is trending upward. You can see what's trending downward. You can identify where are the gaps. For instance, is there a large uh, group of, or is there enough production of, let's say for Iowa, let's say eggplant. Do you want to approach a new crop of eggplant or something? You can get in and see who is growing what is trending up, trending down, and ownership, farm ownership is covered in these. Um, uh, um, I thought it was. Uh, it's not searching well. Okay, sorry. But yeah, this is what is available through the agricultural statistics. Another document is through NAS is the, excuse me, census. You can get into the census for the state of Michigan, or excuse me, state of Iowa, census of agriculture for Iowa. And then this will take you into the most recent census, which was done in 2017. And so you can see what was grown in Iowa in 2017. Census started in 2016, 2017. So you can get in and do the quick stats so you can get in the census. You can do crops, you can do vegetables, and then it can list out the vegetables you want. You can actually select the vegetables that you actually want to look at. And then you can do county level information. For, oh, here, go to state, and we want for Iowa, and you can just go down through the list of accessible information, and you can see through a couple of years, and then you can get the data. One thing, I think it was Karen who said that you've got to arm yourself with information, and becoming educated in everything that you can will help you achieve your endeavors. So you can research what has been produced in a state, when it was produced, how it was produced, and so forth. And this data set goes all the way back. Data in here goes back to 1997. One thing about the census is if you want the full ag census, it's like you're currently signing up to do the full the census for next year. So if you have a farm, please sign up and participate in being a member of the census, because if we as women can show that we are interested in land ownership, we have a part in our farms, if we are business owners of agricultural products, then we need to be part of the census. Make your voice be counted. Historical census began all the way back in 1840. And originally it was every 10 years, but since 1925, this agricultural conducted every 5 years, okay, not like the population census. So every 5 years going back, we have information on the agricultural endeavors of our country, okay? And sometimes there are specialty reports, specialty surveys, and so forth, okay? So that's the census, okay? The next link down is for the economic research service for the ERS, the Economic Research Service. And this is the main page that is up, and you can go and filter by date. This page is okay, but I'm not that fond of it, but you can go in and search for publications here. I much prefer this one, the state fact sheets. This is through the ERS, Economic Research Service. You can go in and click on your state. Again, I'm going to select Iowa. And here you can see census data at a quick link or quickly. And you can see down here employment information, farm characteristics, woodland sizes of farms, value adding to farms, consumption, contract data, or contract workers, and so forth. There's a lot of information here that can help you identify what's going on in your state, your region. And a lot of this can be used for if you're writing grants and you need data to back yourself up. You can always cite the data coming from the federal agencies, especially the ERS, okay? The next link I want to share with you is this one is not on the guide. It's not one of the links here, but I want to say that another area of information to help you is going to be like associations by crops or by businesses. And this one example that I have here is coming from US Apple. It's listing out all of the state Apple associations that are more local to help you with your specific crop. So for like Iowa is the Iowa Fruit Vegetable Growers Association. For Michigan, where I am, it's the Michigan Apple Commission. But a lot of times these associations will have membership where you can get assistance growing your specific crop. There's information from producers, information from growers in here. Sometimes they even have data on who is growing what, especially for if you're looking for varieties. What are the varieties that are currently being grown and marketed in your home state or your area? And so these can be a great place to find more local information on an industry that you are interested in, okay? So that was that one. And then extension agencies. That is a Cooperative extension. And this is the link that goes to this page here, the Land Grant University website directory. Cooperative Extension Service. I am the library's liaison to the Cooperative Extension and experiment stations all across the state of Michigan. And these educators are wonderful people. They are out there wanting to help the citizens of their county, their district, find information to help them succeed. It could be helping them start a food products business. It could be acquiring land. It could be how to find the best market price for the crops that they produce, how to start a farmer's market. And then also there is the whole home economics and a parenting side for finding information on how to raise kids. As a mother of 2 growing sons, a single mother by choice, it can be challenging. But there's parenting tips, budgeting information, economics, how to manage a business budget, how to manage a home budget, and all of this wonderful information that is produced by Extension and the experiment stations. And if you click on, and if you aren't sure of what is available in your state, you can just click on a state, just click on Iowa, and it will produce a link down here to, of course, Iowa State University, their website, Iowa State Extension and Outreach, and then of course the College of Ag and Life Sciences, from which Extension is now based. So if you go here, you go to the website. Somebody had mentioned Ohio. So there's a number of places, Central State, the Ohio State, and then of course, Ohio State's extension website. And again, there's a wealth of information here that could be of great assistance to you on managing your business, finding information, nutrition aspects of kids and livestock. But their documents are often here to where you can find resources on the best growing methods for crops in your state, and so forth. Okay. So again, Extension, I can just easily get lost in the number of hours that I go through and just read all the great stuff coming out of Extension in my own state, let alone everybody else's. And then the last place I want to mention in the state-based level resources that people sometimes overlook is climatological data, weather data. If you are starting a new crop, what are the growing degree days that are necessary to grow that crop? Are you going to have enough sunshine? One thing that people don't consider, especially like in my area of Michigan, is that we have a lot of cloudy days in central Michigan. So we don't have as high a number of degree days as on the coast of the state of Michigan. But when you click on a state, let's go with Nebraska this time, you will bring up the Nebraska State Climate Office. And if you click into it, you will see that through the State Climate Office, they will have current conditions, climate summaries, degree day information, articles, research, events, data sets, trends. So you can look at how has the climate been changing over the last, oh, it's coming soon. Okay, let's go back. I'm gonna show, what was it? Uh, how is the climate changing for your area, your region? Is it, there we go. Monthly weather reports, historic weather reports. This is, of course, for Iowa. Weekly growing season reports. As the climate changes, as we start getting a little warmer, how is that going to affect what you grow, how you grow it? If it's going to get hotter and you have cattle, does that mean that you need to start providing more shade, more water, resources for your cattle so they are healthier when they are on the open range? How is the changing weather going to affect how you uh, conduct your business and so forth? Okay, and a lot of that information can be found through your state climatology office. Okay, so the next section I have is going to be trending topics, and I have yeah, okay, thanks Emma for putting that link in the chat. So the next section I want to cover from the guide is the trending topics. Okay. And so the first topic that I want to address is new farmers. We want new farmers into this wonderful business lifestyle that touches everybody. And there are a lot of resources out there these days for somebody, a family, women who want to start any kind of farming practice, whether it could be an urban farm, a hydroponic farm, an aqua farm. And so this first one that I have here is through ATTRA. They have a farm startup page. And so they have these self-instruction courses, planning and marketing, getting started in farming, an introductory course in farm business planning. And then there are case studies that are highlighted so you can see how others went about starting their own farm. Risk management in farming, and so forth. So this is a great site to find some information to get started. And also, if you've been an old hand at this for a while, but you want to see what is new that maybe you've missed along the way, these are a great refresher for new resources that are out there that may, for instance, have come out in the most recent Farm Bill that you may have overlooked or not heard about. So that one is through ATTRA. The next one is through SARE. And this, when you get into SARE, you are going to want to click on the resources and learning tab. And then instead of just using the search box, what you can do is you can go down and in the audiences tab, beginning farmers, and I've also clicked underserved and minority audiences tabs. And when you click them, you will get a list of the resources that pop up. And so you can go down here. Their new book is the Building Soils for Better Crops book. It's the new 4th edition. It is out. Resources for Vermont's Beginning Farmers, Farm Internship Handbook. It comes up to Oregon, but I think there are other pages in that. Sowing the Seeds of Justice Food Manual. Growing specialty ethnic crops for South Asian markets in the Northeast. Racial Equity Toolkit. Information here that can help you start a business or reach out to populations that you hadn't thought about, finding markets. How do you develop marketing plans, business plans? How do you build a sustainable farm, and so forth? Um, Urban micro agricultural entrepreneurs, a how-to guide. Um, and all of these, when they come up, they are in PDF format. Granted, this was 2012, but still the practices in here are solid. And you can get in and then want more information. Links are down here. And so forth. So you could just download that and start learning and then putting the words into practice. Okay, so that was through SARE, the Resources and Learning. What we have is the USDA's NIFA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture Division. This is their Beginning Farmer and Rancher Development Program, BFRDP. And if you scroll through here, there's funding opportunities for grants. Sorry, I should step back and just say NIFA, NIFA, the National Institute of Food and Agriculture. This is the granting agency of the USDA. So when you hear that the university just received a $3.5 million grant through the USDA to develop hop yards or something like that, this is through whom they got those grants. They applied through NIFA. And in fact, if you go through grants, there are grant opportunities for individuals. You don't have to be affiliated with a corporation or a university. There are grant opportunities for individuals. These are the titles. These are the due dates. You can search. You can limit the options or filter the options through here. But going back to where I was, the Beginning Farmer Program, it is a program that you can apply to get grant funding, to establish a farm, get input for a farm, resources for applying for a grant through NIFA, and so forth. So this could be an opportunity or a resource that you use to expand your farm holdings or start a new production area. So that is what the NIFA Beginning Farmer Program is about, is starting something new, either from literally the ground up or venturing into new areas. Okay. The next tab I want to go to for beginning farmers is the New Farmers site through USDA. And this is the portal to guide persons, people, to the ins and out of the business practices, licensing, permits, tax regulations, food safety regulations, and et cetera, that you need to know about. It's open to anyone who wants to open a new gardening or farming business, a CSA, ranching or animal husbandry or other related endeavor. There's resources down here. There's so you can go through New Farmers, also women in agriculture. I'm glad they finally have are acknowledging us. And there's information here that you can explore. How information on different aspects, funding, and so forth. Okay, and resources, news pieces. Because we are so varied in what we do and how we do it, who knows what is out there. And so hopefully this could be of of use for you as a new farmer and women in agriculture. Also, if you know of veterans who want to get into the farming business, there are a lot of resources out there for getting veterans onto the land and making a new career with farming. And that's available through the USDA's New Farmers Program. And then there is an organization called Farm Answers. And this is the clearinghouse for agricultural documents tying back to the BFRDP. But this is the clearinghouse of documents. So you can get into the library and find the guides and resources here for all of these different topics. Business management, farm planning, marketing, adding value, contract production, farm safety, family needs, production, pastures, livestock, fruits and nuts, fruit trees, ornamentals, Christmas trees, and then legal information. What kind of taxes and legal forms and licensing do you need? And so all of this is open for you to take advantage of. If we look at financial stress documents, cash flow, dollar decisions, dairy output, production and dairy output, and so forth. The information is available. If you need something like the 10 keys to a successful farm business, look them over. Are you making, how well are you doing compared to this rubric? And of course you click on it and it pulls up the item here. And you click on the item right here and that, or go to item and it will pull it up. I don't want to do that right now because I don't know how long it's going to take to load. So yeah. So yeah, Farm Answers is a great place to get new information to help you through when you need to arm yourself with more information to be productive. And then the next topic, agritourism. Okay. Agritourism has been around for a very long time, of course, through like corn mazes and U-pick farms and pumpkin patches. If you are interested in pursuing or exploring an agritourism business, a couple of resources that I have identified here is through the, this one is through the USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service. They have this alternative enterprises and agritourism curriculum here, where it has all of these different PDFs of how to establish and plan for an agritourism business and what is associated with that. So for like nature tourism, it provides citations to articles and documents that address this topic area, okay? And then it goes into these documents that can help you explore, is this a good fit for me? Is this a good fit for my land and my family? And you can read them here online if you can sort of turn your head sometimes. So yes, That is all here. And like this one PDF is 87 pages long. So yeah. But that is through the NCRS document. I'm trying to remember when this was written. It's been a couple years since this was written, but it's still relevant today. The other I want to share with you about agritourism. This is coming through the Colorado Department of Ag, their agritourism department. And if you go down here, they conducted a webinar in 2017 called Agritourism 101. And it is online. Come on, there we go. And it goes through all of these modules. So you can get in on an engaging family and community. It links to the, like for here, for instance, this one is like the PowerPoint that was part of that that webinar, and it shows you what was discussed. And so the resources and references that are associated with these areas. So again, you may like how this is laid out, and you can identify, well, what happens if I want to start a UPIC business? What is my liability? What is my risk? What kind of insurance do I have to have? These are things that can be addressed in some of these sections of the webinar that can help you evaluate whether this is something that you want to pursue and invest in, because agriculture is an investment, as we all know. Okay, so let's see, the next topic that I wanted to share with you, and I don't want to like float my own boat here, but I know in many states, industrial hemp is becoming a top commodity. Okay, within the last 3 years, up to 4, it has now become legal again to grow industrial hemp, not necessarily cannabis, but industrial hemp, which they're both parts of the same plant, of course, whereas industrial hemp does not have the levels of THC and CBD that make it the addictive plant. But it's the fiber plant. And when the legislation started going through to make hemp legal to grow again, Nixon put a kibosh on it back in the early 1970s, but it is now legal again. Hemp had been grown in the United States for decades. And so when legislators, growers, farmers, and the public want to start looking at growing this crop again, they couldn't find anything current about the growing situation in the United States. So where did they go? They came to libraries. And what kind of research did they find? Yearbook of Agriculture information, experiment station materials from way back in the day. And so we librarians started putting together these compilations of where to find information on the growing of hemp. And so this is from Iowa State, Soil Type and Soil Management Factors in Hemp Production, published in 1947. Okay, because this was some of the most recent information that we had at the time. But the information, of course, is still valid. And this is the launching point from where we picked up on doing agriculture productivity studies for the growing of hemp again, states. So a number of us librarians at predominantly the the land grants, we started putting together these guides of all of these resources that we could find on the growing of hemp. Like there's some really fun stuff here. There's a video, Victory for that was produced in was it 1942 for World War II as a propaganda. I want to say a propagation film. It's not. It's a propaganda film. On growing hemp. Anyway, that stuff is linked in here because we are now producing new information on how to grow hemp. And with the decline of the growing of tobacco in many states, climate change, if you can't grow a crop that had been growing very well for years because it's getting too hot and you need a new crop, you may want to look into industrial hemp because it can be grown for fibers. It can be grown for ropes and clothing. And the thing is, extension educators are now producing new documentation for the growing of industrial hemp. And so that is why I am keeping this guide going. So these are the newest information that I can find as it is published, and keeping this guide here. So if you do need resources on how to grow hemp for either yourself or people that you work with or anything like that, it is here. And of course, a lot of the other, the legislation, the legalese that has to be done to be able to grow it safely and with the permits and stuff. So that is all compiled here. Hops is another one that especially that is being grown here in the state of Michigan. Just want to throw that out. This page 2 is being kept up to date on the growing of hops because of the microbrewery industry that is sweeping the nation, that people want information on, and how hops they have to be grown on these huge trellis systems in a hop yard, similar to way vines in a grape, a vineyard is a vine yard, whereas you have a hop yard on these huge trellises and stuff. But that's on this page. And then, whoops. And then this last one, I wanted to point out, switching topics, we are now to urban agriculture. Of course, especially like in areas like in Detroit, and as Karen pointed out in New York City, converting of abandoned and vacant lots into agricultural spaces is of course collectively called urban agriculture. It's rooftop gardens, balcony gardens, and there are a number of agencies that are putting out information to navigate urban agriculture. Of course, the big one is coming through the USDA, the National Agricultural Library, like one of the libraries that I love. Very good people who work there, making information accessible to people worldwide as it's needed, as it's produced. But they have put together this guide through the Alternative Farming Systems Information Center in the National Agricultural Library, like the Urban Agricultural Toolkit. This is an 18-page document on how to get started in an urban agriculture endeavor. So what are the things that you have to look at? Soil quality is of course the big issue, but also land access. How are you going to get water to it? What are the policies and stuff that have to be addressed? Then they go on and have all of these other sites that identify more resources for you if you are in a more urban environment and you want to establish one of these areas. It is linked in here, the Urban Farm Business Plan Handbook, but it is also on my guide because you have to learn how it's any kind of endeavor. You have to have a business plan, whether it be for your own personal finances, if you are doing a CSA, are you doing a farmer's market, or is this your livelihood? You almost always need a business plan so you can budget for things expected as well as plan for the unexpected. The Urban Farm Business Plan Handbook this one is coming through the EPA. It is a PDF, Partnership for Sustainable Communities, the Urban Farm Business Plan Handbook. It was produced in 2011. But it goes through the steps that are a good guide on how to set up a business plan and budget and so forth. So this is back to the guide. So I've covered here these trending topics, and I just finished up with that one. And the last section I am going to cover today are the National Agricultural Library resources. So I'm going to go over here. Okay. National Agricultural Library is, of course, one of the top 4 libraries, some say 5, in the United States. Of course, Library of Congress, National Library of Medicine, and of course, the National Agricultural Library. Throughout its history, it has been the compiler and disseminator of agriculture information. It is the leader in the world in agricultural information providers. And they have started digitizing all of their documentation, and it is now becoming more and more accessible. The USDA publications collection, this is where you can find the agricultural handbooks, technical bulletins, research reports, issues in agricultural policy, and so forth. So you can go in and you can browse the collection, and you can go in and select documents that you want to look at. And so if you just go on like USDA publications, publication year, of course, it's the old stuff, it's the new stuff. Whoops, sorry about that. Let's try that one. Does that one work? There we go. Silvopasture, Hamilton County, Iowa, field day to the long-term agricultural research site. Information in here, adapt on farm changes in the face of climate change. This is looking at California, but the links to the PDF are here for this kind of information. And you will find that a lot of the newer stuff is through the NILDC, as well as some of their historic information. They also have a new site. It's linked here, the Internet Archive. Also, this link here on the guide. For those who are not familiar, the U.S. Forest Service is in the jurisdiction of the USDA. because trees and forested land are considered a commodity. So it is under the USDA, not the USDI, the Department of the Interior, and that is where you're going to find your National Park Services Division. Okay, so anything forestry related, forest gardening kind of information, you will find under the USDA parent agency. But here through the Internet Archive is becoming the digital repository of NAL's digitized information. I've actually had the luxury of being able to see the digitization of some of the stuff by the Internet Archive in the National Agricultural Library. And it's a well-oiled machine of how they take a document, whether it be an old book or an old PDF or an old mimeograph typewritten file, and how they gently scan every single page to put it into a digital domain to where we can access it without having to go to that complex in Maryland and look at in Beltsville and look at it everything in person. We can now look at it from the luxuries of our own bedrooms, so to speak. But you can get in, you can search the collection here in the search box. I haven't done the search before, so I don't know the kind of result. Farmers, women farmers. And we're searching the metadata, which is the encoding of the document itself. And so we got 16 results. Oh, goody, work clothes for women. This is from a throwback to 1942 of how women on the farm dressed. So there you go. Don't forget the hat, providing sunscreen and all that. And you can just read the whole document or laugh at it however you wish right here. They also have plans. Sometimes they even have the patterns. Yep. Oh, utility. Nurses' uniforms. Wow, have those changed? Anyway, I digress. Wonderful kind of information here. One thing I do like about it is you can also find building plans. So if you want to design a new milking parlor or a gardening shed, you can, or hot boxes on cold frames, you can find the plans with the dimensions and materials needed on these sites. And since I like to do a lot of that DIY stuff here at my own place, this is a great resource. And one more resource out of the USDA National Agricultural Library that I want to point out real quick is PubAg. PubAg is a resource for the publication and public access of documentation of articles and such written by USDA personnel. Okay, anything written and published by a USDA employee has to go in the public domain. So if we put in land ownership and search, it will pull up documents on land ownership. You can go down and click text availability. And yes, there's a huge amount of citations, but there's also, you can click on full text. Okay, so these are documents that are in the public domain that you can link on to find out all about different aspects of our agricultural complex, our industry, ownership, pesticide use, litigation, and so forth. So you can click on the link here, and it will take you, no, I've got to move my link here. So the link here to the document is there, and it will take you to the site where you can get into the free PDF right there. And so here's the full text of this article. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go back, and that was that page. And that's all I had that I specifically wanted to get through, and I'm ending right on time. I just want to say that there's other resources on this page, including more of the USDA Economic Research Service, the Agricultural Marketing Service publications, and so forth. On my guides, as I said at the beginning, I think, if I remember correctly, I try to incorporate open access materials whenever I can to my guides. A couple of years ago, I was able to digitize a lot of older school gardening documents. Somebody had mentioned that they did a lot with school gardening, one of our presenters, I believe. All of these are free full text publications on the United States Garden Army stuff, but I digress. I am going to stop sharing, and I'm going to open this up for discussion. If anybody has any questions, just please ask.
Thank you so much, Susie. That was super informative.
Good.
Yeah, so you can feel free to use the Whova chat or the Q&A, the Zoom chat, or you can just even unmute and ask a question. Let me make sure I've got chat enabled real quick. Yep.
And that site that I've been linking everything to is open and accessible. So anybody can come back to it at any time to take advantage of it as needed.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything in Whova or Zoom, so
Okay.
final call for questions. Anybody? Go ahead and unmute if you want. Otherwise, that might be it.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending, and I hope you found this of use. And again, if anybody needs anything information-wise, I'm available. So don't hesitate to email me. Okay.
Perfect.
So please email me. So.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's so good to hear.
Yes.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to stop recording and end the session. So take care.
Bye.
Happy conference.
Yep.